Hello everyone and welcome to my channel, Advice to Think Twice. My name is Monica and I'm here with your channeled messages for the week of March 6th, 2017. Thank you for joining me. I will be pulling one card from the Psychic Tarot for the Heart Oracle deck for each sign, and then deliver the channeled messages for that particular sign. Please do remember that these are general readings, and so they're not going to apply to everyone. They're not going to make sense to everyone, or not in the same way. Make sure to watch your moon and rising sign readings, because sometimes they resonate better with us than our sun sign, okay, when we're dealing with general readings. Or the three of them together could paint a bigger picture for us as to what's coming up. And I'm looking forward to your comments. I'm looking forward to seeing how these messages make sense to you, if they do apply. Thank you for all your support. I do appreciate it. And if you are interested, you also have weekly tarot readings for work and finances. You also have the monthlies, the love scopes, and the general tarot scopes to look at if you're interested. Okay, so we're going to jump right in and see what channel messages we get for each of the signs, okay? Have a great week. I'll talk to you again soon. Take care. Hello, Sagittarius, and welcome to your reading. So your card is Darkest Fears. So I want us to try a little exercise here. If you could close your eyes and take a few deep breaths in and out. Try to clear your head, and then come to the card, look at the card, and see where it tells you, okay? See how it makes you feel, what it makes you think of, what kind of mood it puts you in. Okay, just honestly what you get off of the card. You can pause the video and do this for a few seconds. You can pause the video and do it for a couple of minutes, okay, or work your way up, okay? It can take a little while to get in a meditative state. But whatever you need, you can start, and it's gonna be a few seconds, then a few minutes, and then so on. So don't get discouraged. So yeah, you can pause the video and practice that, or work your way up. Okay, it really depends what you want to do. If you want to do the exercise, what this is going to do is actually it will allow you to receive a direct message out of this general reading, which may or may not apply to you. This way you'll receive a direct message, something that will speak directly to you. And it's also a good way to practice your intuition, practice using your intuition, trusting your intuition, learning about, how you receive your messages and so on, okay? And I'm sorry about my voice, but I've been talking a lot, and I think it's starting to catch up with me, but hopefully it'll get better with a little warm-up. Okay. So what I'm picking up on when I'm looking at this card for you is this is a week where you're going to be in your head, okay, most of the time. Now what that means is that no matter what happens, you're going to think about it. You're going to try to process it. You're going to try and rationalize it. And even with feelings or emotions, okay, when we are too much in our heads, we get to this point where something happens and we think about how we should feel about it as opposed to just reacting to it emotionally, okay? So there's a lot going on for some of you, and it feels like you could easily get overwhelmed emotionally, and so this is like a coping mechanism, or you keep emotions out of it. And you try to stay logical, and you try to stay rational, okay? So just using your mind to process what's going on, to react, to respond to what's going on. So, this doesn't have to be a bad week. It could really be a good week for you, so don't get frightened. This is not a bad card. It's just saying that you may be a little bit too much in your head this week, or it's asking you to behave this way. It's asking you to react this way. Your guidance is try not to respond emotionally. Try not to react without thinking, okay, impulsively. And for those of you, like I say, it is a way of avoiding dealing with your feelings. Okay, that's what it feels like for some of you. So you could be dealing with some situations that are emotionally charged. Okay, let's call them that. Now that could be a love situation. It could be a situation with your friends, with your family, or whatever it is that you have your hopes up for. Okay, so you're invested emotionally, you have your hopes up when it comes to that situation, or you have certain hopes, certain expectations. You feel a certain way about that situation. Okay, that's the kind of emotional situation that we're talking about here. For others, this could be trouble sleeping, not resting properly, or trouble with nightmares in the week. For some of it, this just feels like, it's coming from exhaustion. It's coming, for those of you, from stress. It feels like you need to say something, or you need to make a decision that you don't want to make, that you don't want to look at, that you're trying to avoid. And so that translates into either nightmares or you're dealing with insomnia. Okay? So the way to stop having those problems, again, it's going to be different for everyone, but if this is why, if you know that there's something you have to do or say and you don't want to do it, you're trying to avoid it, and then you see that you have trouble sleeping or nightmares or whatever, anything like that, okay? Insomnia, nightmares, that sort of thing. Think about it. Could it be because you're trying to avoid something? Could it be you're trying to avoid dealing with your feelings? Could it be you're trying to avoid communicating what you're thinking, how you're feeling in a situation to another person? Okay, so if that is the case, then really the simplest way, it's not the easiest way, but the simplest way is to address the situation so you can get a good night's sleep again. For others of you, this is about a fear that you will be addressing in the week, or that will be triggered for you in the week. For some of you, it's going to be a fear of failure is what I'm coming up with here. For those of you, it's going to be fear of losing someone or losing something. So it's about losing a person or losing something in terms of your possessions or your status, anything related to your status or your image, or reputation, something you've worked really hard for, and now you see a threat of losing something there. So that's another thing. Okay, for some of you, there's actually going to be a situation that happens that triggers that fear for you. For others, it's because you're in your head so much that you start to see problems, or you start to see issues, or you start to see, it's almost like you're feeling a little bit paranoid. Okay, which is why maybe they're asking you not to react impulsively, not to jump the gun on anything, to take your time, think things through, or quiet the mind because you're overthinking things. Okay, meditation is really going to help you this week. Prayer is going to help you. If you are dealing with the situation that you're afraid something will happen and yet you don't know that it's going to happen for sure. If you know that something may happen, prepare for it. Okay, take some precautions, anything that you can do. And that what that is going to do, it's going to give you back your sense of safety and control, because you have a plan. Okay, if this happens, I know what to do. If this happens, I know what to do, I'll be okay. And so that kind of eases the tension there. And if it's a situation that you feel like, oh my God, what if this happens? And it feels more like an uncontrollable, irrational fear. And, the way that manifests is when you think about the situation, you only see one option. You only see the bad option. You only see what's the worst that can happen. Other people may try to make you see that there's other options, or it may not even happen, or anything like that. And they're just not making sense to you. You just see that option, and you just feel more and more fearful every time you think about it. That's an uncontrollable fear, and as much as I can explain it right now, what I'm sensing here for you. And if that is the case, you do have the opportunity this week to take control over that fear. Okay, take control of your mind here. I am feeling like, for the most part, you can handle your emotions. You know what they are. You can control your emotions. You can use them to your advantage. But this week feels like a week where things are shaken up. Some things kind of come up to the surface through a cracked surface. That's what I'm seeing. So there could be a conversation, news, something that happens that triggers your emotions to the point where you can't go through the usual process of thinking about it, processing it. You know what I mean? You just have the tendency to want to react, to be impulsive, to respond, and it's kind of very. It's not, don't get me wrong, okay? I'm not picking up on any catastrophe, so it's not that. It's just a situation that you don't know how to handle your emotions with. That's it, okay? It doesn't have to be anything big, bad, and ugly. It's just a situation that you didn't see coming, and so you couldn't prepare for it, and so you react emotionally because you're left wide open. It could be a situation where you're vulnerable, okay? Which is, it could be in a love relationship where you're vulnerable to the other person because you love the other person, so it's weird dynamic. And again, it could feel like very raw if something happens, all right? But I want you to remember, okay, this is your message here. Don't react impulsively. Say or do something you're going to regret. At the same time, if you have to say something, if you have to make a decision, if you have to do something, try not to hold yourself back. If it feels like you're fighting yourself, if it feels like you want to do that, you have to do that, you want to do that, and yet you kind of want to hold yourself back, control yourself. That's a situation when actually, no, you have to speak up, you have to do what you have to do, okay? There's a lot of thinking going on, there's a lot of processing going on, okay? And sometimes, yes, it's necessary or required, but other times it just gets in the way. It just causes issues where there aren't any, or there's a little bit of an issue, and by us overthinking it, we make it into something really big and really complicated, okay? So I want you to keep things simple this week. Simple. Whatever happens, deep breath in, count to 3, and then see how you feel about it. Then see how you want to react to that. Then see what you think about it, okay? Don't be impulsive. On the other hand, this is something, for the most part, this is something that you've already been avoiding, okay? So it's not gonna like come at you overnight. You know, okay, there's something you have to do, there's something you have to say, there's a conversation you need to have, there's something you need to take action with, okay? There's a decision that you need to make, and it's been going on for a while, okay? This avoidance. This is the week where you may actually find that no, you have to do this week, okay? Because I feel like it's starting to get to you physically, okay? You're starting to have physical symptoms. And again, not sleeping right, not eating right, or eating too much, overeating, definitely just going overboard, or definitely not sticking to your eating routine, because it could be comfort food for you now. Not sleeping properly, so be mindful, don't take any medication that's too strong, or don't be foolish about medication or anything like that, okay, if you are dealing with insomnia. And if it is, physiological for you, and you're sure there's nothing psychological behind it, okay, if that makes sense, then try to treat it, but keep it under control. But the message that I'm getting is specifically for those of you who the insomnia has a psychological cause or a trigger, okay, in terms of avoiding something. For others, this is about dispelling fear. Something happens this week where you're like, that wasn't too bad. I can't believe I was afraid of that. What was I afraid of? So that's an awesome thing. Okay, you're taking charge of your fears. You're taking a fear head on and you're winning. Okay? And so it can be a very, very successful week in that. Okay? Lots of personal growth, spiritual growth, even professional growth, okay, but it does come through personal growth because you have to learn to be confident, to go for what you want, okay? And usually you're fine with that, but again, something happens this week where something is triggered in your emotions that you don't necessarily know how to handle, okay? And I feel like when in doubt, just be honest. Just be honest. You don't have to explain yourself. You don't have to make excuses. You don't. If someone asks you how you feel, let them know how you feel and let the chips fall where they may. At least you will have been honest. There's nothing to rattle your brains about. The other person knows. We can decide what to do from there. Okay? But I am seeing enlightenment here. Okay? And I'm seeing like, what was I afraid of? That's not bad. I'm okay with that. I can do that. So that's really, really good because, you know, it's not every day that you can just completely dispel a fear. Okay, so these are a few of the messages that come through for you here, for you in the week. Let me know what this is for you with psychic readings. It can be something that's very specific, not making sense to a lot of people or making sense to one person. It can be something more general, okay, that makes sense to a lot of different people. It can be something very specific. It can be something symbolic. It can be something, you know what I mean? So messages can be very, very different and very varied, if I can say that. So I am looking forward to your feedback, okay, in terms of if this makes sense to you, how it makes sense to you. If it makes no sense, that's a possibility. Watch your moon and rising sign, okay? You should have some messages that make sense to you, that apply to you there. And, you know, if not, that's a possibility as well. So maybe next time, maybe next week, okay? It is general, and so it kind of goes out for hundreds or thousands of people. So it is difficult to ensure that it always applies to everyone watching, okay? So that's the only way that you can try and get messages specific to you, or you do that little exercise in the beginning of the video and you get a message specifically for you, okay? Or, you know, of course, if you want a private reading, if you feel that's going to help, all the links you need, always in the description box below, okay? If you're dealing with something and you feel like you would need outside help, just for confirmation, just for clarification, or whatever that is, let me know. I'm here, okay? So there you have it. That's your reading. I really hope it makes sense and that it helps you. Thank you for joining me. Try to have a really great week. And for those of you, it's going to be a really great week, okay? Embrace it. Go with it. And I'll talk to you again soon, okay? Thank you. Talk again.